Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is IELTS English and Knowledge. This video will tell you about your last section of IELTS exam, which is speaking. IELTS speaking. So speaking is the last section of your IELTS exam. Now what are they testing you in speaking section? As the name suggests, you have to speak. They are testing your speaking skills in English language. So you have told them that you can listen and understand English language, you can read and understand English language, you can write English language. But now in the last section you have to show them that you not only can understand English language by listening, reading, but you also know how to speak in English language. You need to communicate in English language and show them. Okay, so it's that simple. You have to speak in English, you have to communicate in English with the examiner. It's a face-to-face interview. It's an informal type of interview, okay, in which certain questions are asked by the examiner to you. Then some things to be kept in mind. First of all, speak with intonation. Speak with intonation. Okay, what is intonation? Intonation is that you have to stress on some particular words. Where you have to stress, for example, look at the way I am speaking. I am stress. Look at the important points which are to be kept in mind. So see, look at the intonation I used in my speech. Look at the important points. I stressed the words important points. Why? Because these two words were important for you to listen. Okay, so this tells the examiner, the usage of intonation tells the examiner that you know what you are speaking. You have not memorized something. Okay, you know what you are speaking, and that also tells that this you are speaking at a natural tone. You are speaking in your natural way. Okay, because this is just an this is an informal type of interview. You have to talk face to face. Okay, just like you talk with your friends or colleagues, you have to talk in the same manner. Okay, because it's an informal type of interview. And then you have to speak with confidence. Now confidence is such a thing that it's so important in this. It is practically so important in today's world. I can remember that everybody knows about Kapil Sharma, the renowned comedian of India. See what he says. He says that so he says, do everything with confidence, even if you do not know how it is done. So see, it's the most beautiful line. It fits to today's world. As you know, it's the fastest growing world today. So if you speak with confidence, everybody knows that a person is confident only when you love what you do. So confidence only comes when you love what you do, or when you are enthusiastic about what you do. So you need to love English language to gain confidence. But even if you do not like it, even if you do not love English language, still please speak with confidence. Why? Because you have to fetch a good band score in your IELTS exam. Okay, be practical. Then the third thing is, don't pause. You do not have to pause for too long, or you do not have to be speaking at a very high speed. I know certain people do speak at a very high speed, and if those people cannot bring your speaking at a normal speed, it's okay, but it is only okay till when examiner can make out what you are saying. Your every word should be clear to the examiner. every word should be clear to the examiner. Okay, even if you speak at a very low speed or even if you speak at a very high speed, but very low speed is not recommended. A normal speed is recommended. Okay, the important, so some degree of pause is inevitable, that means it is just unavoidable, but try not to pause for too long, otherwise the examiner will interrupt you in between, and he or she will say that okay, we are moving on to the next question. So in order to avoid this statement of the examiner, you should not pause for too long. Okay, then organize your thoughts, your ideas, and your sentences. I mean, organize your ideas in your sentences, just like in the IELTS writing section. In the speaking section also, you need to organize them in a proper way. Okay, so that I mean, you should be coherent and cohesive. Okay, why? Because you have to use the connectors, the linking words. Okay, you can even use complex sentences in your IELTS speaking. Okay, why? Because examiner is looking for such a thing. Okay, examiner is looking that how you are organizing sentences. Then there are 3 parts in your IELTS speaking section. The very first part, you will be greeted by the examiner and you yourself will also greet the examiner. Okay, examiner will ask you about your ID. That means your ID is your passport. Passport is your only identity in your IELTS exam. And then part 1 questions will be asked to you. First of all, your name is asked, and after that your so some general questions are asked to you. For example, you can be asked that do you work or do you study? Do you live in a house or an apartment? Where is your hometown? Where are you from? Where are you residing? Or do you love to plant trees? Should an individual plant trees? So any general question can be asked to you in part 1, and they are to be answered in 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, then we are moving on to part 2. Part 2 is cue card. Now a cue card will be given to you. Cue card is generally a small piece of paper where only the main important points are written for what you have to speak on. Okay, for example, you will be given a cue card, for instance, like describe a time when you changed your opinion, or describe a time when you had a problem with your computer, or describe an argument you had with your friend. Okay, any general question, any type of cue card can be asked to you, and the examiner will provide you a pen and a paper to prepare for your cue card for just 1 minute. Only 1 minute will be given to you. Yes, only 1 minute. Okay, in that 1 minute, write down the most important points that are coming in your mind. Whatever comes in your mind, just write it on, because you do not have time to think. And then after 1 minute, examiner will say you to speak. The examiner will say you to begin speaking. Okay, as soon as you begin speaking, the examiner will set the time, and you have to speak for at least 1 minute or 1 to 2 minutes. So the part 2 is for about 2 minutes. Okay, then examiner will not interrupt you in between. You have to continue speaking. Okay, if the examiner interrupts you and say you okay, we are moving on to the next question, don't worry. It might be that he has tested your level of English, so it's okay if he does that. Okay, so then comes the part 3. Now part 3 is about follow-up questions. You can make it out that followed by the above. I mean, whatever you spoke in part 2 related to that cue card which was provided to you. Okay, questions will be asked related to that cue card in part 3. So these 3 to 4 questions are generally asked, and you are expected to answer in 3 to 4 sentences. So the answers of part 3 questions should be a little longer than part 1 questions. Fine. So this is the end of the speaking section. Now, what is the assessment criteria for assessing your speaking skill in English language? Okay, the assessment criteria consists of these 3, 4, 5, okay, 5 parameters. Okay, now what are these 5 parameters? First of all, it's fluency. Your fluency in English language is checked. Fluency means that you are not giving too long pauses. Okay, you should be consistent in talking. Talk as much as you can. The second thing is lexical resource. Just like the IELTS writing, you should know how to paraphrase certain sentences. Even if you you have got a cue card to speak on. Okay, the first sentence of the cue card you are wanting to speak as an introduction, so you have to paraphrase that topic sentence. Okay, you cannot speak as it's written in the question. You need to paraphrase. You need to use high range of vocabulary. Okay, then you have to, okay, you can use certain informal words in speaking, but you cannot use informal words in IELTS writing. In speaking, it's an informal interview. You can speak some some words as informal, okay, but not very informal language. Okay, then the third thing is grammatical range and accuracy. Grammatical range and accuracy means, so your grammatical mistakes are checked by the examiner. They will be listening you carefully and noting down
mistakes that you make,
grammatical mistakes that you
make
while speaking. Okay, what can be grammatical mistakes? You will say the usage of comma and all. No, okay, while speaking also we can make out that you are careful about where to use comma, or there can be the usage of sentences, the usage of tenses in sentence. Okay, if you have started your sentence in past tense, you cannot go to the present tense suddenly. Okay, so these things are checked. Then the third thing is pronunciation. Of course, in IELTS speaking section, your pronunciation is checked. So you should know the latest pronunciation of certain words, but sometimes some words are pronounced differently in America, in British, or in Australia. So these are some standard English speaking countries. Okay, if you pronounce certain words according to what these countries are pronouncing, then it's okay. But if you are pronouncing it completely in a strange way, you will lose your mark, lose your band. Your accent is not taken into consideration. Okay, whatever accent you have, if it's Indian accent, you can speak in that accent. You do not need British accent, the American accent. Okay, why? Because they know that we are non-native speakers. They know this, so you need not to copy someone. Okay, so your pronunciation is checked, but your accent is not checked. Okay, you should be using complex sentences and compound sentences even in IELTS speaking section. Okay. And then the last one is coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion means you should be speaking related to the topic. That means if you have begin speaking about some particular idea and then you go on to something else, so you have completely lost your track. Okay, you should stick to the point even in IELTS speaking section. Okay, so this was all for your IELTS last section, which is speaking section. I hope I have cleared all your doubts, and do watch my coming videos for more detailed information. Thanks for watching this video till the end, and don't forget to subscribe my channel.